Hello guys and welcome to my qualifying report for the 2019 Australian Grand Prix. And without a further ado, let's get into my report. Lewis Hamilton secured his 8th pole position at Melbourne, heading a Mercedes 1-2. Sebastian Vettel rounded out the top 3, 7/10 behind Hamilton, not good enough for the Scarlet Red outfit. Then we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Grosjean, Magnussen, Norris, Raikkonen and Perez. I'm not going to talk about every team throughout this qualifying report, so I'm just going to pick teams out and I'm just going to justify my opinions on their Saturday session. The Silver Arrows had a golden touch in Albert Park on the Saturday evening, and my word, they thrashed Ferrari and Red Bull. Despite the Merc looking like a bit of a handful to drive, the grip and the speed it has is just relentless. Valtteri Bottas had the upper edge in their first runs in Q3, but Lewis Hamilton would respond with a blistering lap. His 84th pole in F1 seems like an inhumane stat. However, next door Ferrari really did struggle at Melbourne. Sebastian Vettel was 7/10 off Lewis Hamilton, and talk about a really intense title fight. This is not the way Ferrari wanted to kickstart 2019. Charles Leclerc was also disappointing. He got out-qualified by a Red Bull, and to be honest, the Red Bull did not look quick throughout this weekend so far, so not good enough from the Monegasque driver. But people need to calm down a bit. They're saying Hamilton and Mercedes have already won the championship. Remember the qualifying session at Albert Park last year? Hamilton was 7/10 ahead of Raikkonen and Vettel in the Ferraris, and look what Ferrari did for the rest of the season. They arguably had the fastest car, so one qualifying session is not going to determine the rest of 2019. It was a mixed day for Red Bull. Max Verstappen qualified P4, a very impressive performance, but Pierre Gasly shockingly got knocked out in Q1. Red Bull just miscalculating the track evolution. Keeping the Frenchman in the garage was a huge mistake, but at least we'll get to see what Pierre Gasly's racecraft is made of tomorrow. Sergio Perez made it into the top 10 in qualifying, however Lance Stroll was immensely disappointing. With the old Force India F1 team really hyping up Lance Stroll and really giving him a lot of encouragement, the guy just had no pace in qualifying. I don't know what to make of Racing Points. I'm getting it wrong already. I don't know what to make of Racing Points car. I don't think it's an absolute scorcher, and I don't think it's that bad, but that does not displace the fact that Lance Stroll was just not good enough and he really needs to pick himself up. And I'm going to end on Williams, and yeah, it's basically a somber tone all over the board. About a second slower than everyone else in qualifying. A second slower than the nearest car in qualifying. And George Russell even said himself, I'm not too fussed about out-qualifying Kubica. It's just the fact that you're doing it for 19th place. It's just not a very good atmosphere within the team. I'm going to say it, and this is not sexism, but Williams are not going to improve as an F1 team. They're not going to get off the bottom of the pile unless Claire Williams goes. The fact that Paddy Lowe was the first to go and Claire Williams is still there, it just doesn't make sense to me. The car is comparable to a HRT in modern F1, but you know, I'm not going to rant on too much. I'll talk about Williams in a future video, but yeah, just not good enough from the former world-beating team. Now I'm going to move on to my driver of qualifying, and it has to be Lando Norris. Getting into the top 10, qualifying P8 is a remarkable achievement on your F1 debut. I mean, I wasn't that impressed by Lando last year in F2, but my word, the guy has some serious speed and talent. And with that midfield so condensed, any misjudgment or error is going to pay dividends, and you'd think it'd be the inexperienced drivers that would falter, but Lando rised up to the occasion. I do feel sorry for Sainz. He got caught up in that Kubica incident that I haven't really talked about. Basically, Kubica hit the wall, had a puncture, and Sainz got caught up in all that, but that just doesn't take away from the fact Lando Norris was a superstar on Saturday. But guys, that is it for today's video. Please like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm hoping to deliver more fresh content to this YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that, please. But until next time, guys, See you later and enjoy the Australian Grand Prix of 2019.